On this Monday, we're going to be talking about the defensive line. So let's jump into that mamma jam. What is up, Fin fans? We are talking defensive line today in the camp battle situation. Tomorrow, the Miami Dolphins start their mandatory minicamp. So there's going to be a few players that we're going to keep our eye out on when it comes to tomorrow. I will talk more about that in comment of the day because a lot of you guys are asking me to touch upon something in comment of the day. So I will be talking about that in comment of the day. So if you see the timestamp, at some point it says section comment of the day. This is the intro though, but I got to thank a few members and I got to shout out a few people. So I got to thank a few members. Will, Federico, Irving, Figueroa, Sean Kelly, Robert Martin, and Mike Favera. Mike Favera and I think Robert Martin joined the membership on the live stream on Saturday, but I still got to give you your proper shout out before the video. Thank you guys so much for joining the membership. Also, Backroom Collections. If you guys don't know, I think it's back here. You can kind of see it down there. That awesome Jason Taylor picture they sent me. I'll pop up some. They sent me pictures of other artwork they do, not only NFL. Go check them out. Hit them out on Twitter or the Facebook, which is linked in the description. Use the promo code DDW. You get yourself 10% off, and just let them know, hey, I would like Michael Jordan in front of the Bulls stadium with this. Just let them know. Use my promo code DDW, get yourself 10% off. Hit them up on Facebook, hit them up on Twitter, and get yourself some fantastic art. That sucker, I think I'm giving that to my dad for Father's Day, and they have a Ricky Williams one where he is stiff arm, and I'll pop it up. He is stiff arm and a Jet player, and I'm going to get myself that one. So that is the nice little intro that I wanted to get to. Now let's talk about the defensive line and this camp battle video. Now, some players you might say, hey, Doug, well, they're considered defensive linemen as well. I am going off of what the Miami Dolphins on their roster has listed as defensive linemen, defensive tackles, defensive ends. And I'm going to talk about them in that aspect because, yes, you have, Jalen Phillips, who considered to be a defensive end, but now is wearing 15 and on the roster listed as a linebacker. Essentially, he's an outside linebacker in our 3-4 system. He will be talked about in the next video. Same thing with all these other guys. So we're going to jump into defensive ends and then go to defensive tackles. So I'll pop up the list. I'll probably have the whole entire list with all of them. So let's get started. We have Nick Coe, who we signed to the practice squad September of 2020. Then we have Jonathan Ledbetter, who is an undrafted free agent in 2019. We have Emmanuel Ogbah, who is our leading sacker last year with 9 sacks. He had 42 tackles, 21 QB hits. He was third most in the NFL in pressure, second most in the NFL in hurries. This is last year a contract, and he wants a contract. He wants a new one. Then we have Tyshawn Render, who was an undrafted free agent in 2020, still on the team there, and Jason Strawbridge, who, fun fact, we used the Mika Fitzpatrick trade. We got, I think, a fifth from Mika, first and a fifth. We sent them Mika and I think like a fourth or something like that. So in 2020, the 154th pick we used on Jason Strawbridge. I'm hearing he's coming into his all, and when you watch film on him, he's actually doing really well. But when it comes to the defensive ends and when it comes to who's going to go and who's going to stay, I can, obviously Emmanuel Ogbah is not going anywhere. I'm pretty sure now that we saw the whole Jerome Baker situation and him getting his contract extension, they'll probably try to, keep Emmanuel Ogbah on the team. Jason Strawbridge, I could see another guy staying. Jonathan Ledbetter. The way that this defensive line works, it's very hard to look at these defensive ends and be like, oh, well, you envision like a Jason Taylor defensive end where, oh, this is where they'll play. They get moved around a lot. Like you got Nick Coe, Jonathan Ledbetter, Tyshawn Render, and Jason Strawbridge. Those are the ones that you're like, well, who's going to make the team out of those? Because Emmanuel Ogbah is going to make the team. Then you have defensive line. He's just listed under defensive line. Adam Butler, who we signed to free agency this offseason. He's considered a defensive tackle, but kind of probably moved around a little bit. And then you look at the defensive tackles. You have Raekwon Davis, who was the second round pick last year in 2020, had 40 tackles, one tackle for a loss, one QB hit. John Jenkins, who played with the Miami Dolphins in 2019, coming back, that veteran leadership on the defensive front. Jerome Johnson, who was an undrafted free agent this year. Benito Jones, undrafted free agent last year. Zach Zeiler, who we claimed off of the Ravens in 2019, and then his first game, fun fact, I was there when we faced the Giants. This past season, he had 3.5 sacks, 48 tackles, 11 QB hits, and 11 tackles for losses. Just recently got a contract extension off of his play, and then we have our first round pick in 2019, Christian Wilkins, this past season, off of 14 games. He was injured, 1.5 sacks, 47 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, and 3 QB hits. Looking at the defensive line, right? There's names that will be on the team this year. There's names that they battle. Yes, obviously everyone's competing, but you look at, right, Emmanuel Ogbah, he's not going anywhere. Zach Zeiler, Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, they're not going anywhere. John Jenkins, he's a possibility. Jerome Johnson, undrafted free agent this year. He needs to fight to make the team. Same kind of with Benito Jones. Yes, Benito Jones has, a high motor and has the possibility of making the team, but over other people, we'll see. Adam Butler, he signed a big contract. He's not really going anywhere. So the battle really is around like Nick Coe, Jonathan Ledbetter, Tyshawn Render, Jason Strawbridge, John Jenkins, Jerome Johnson, and Benito Jones. That's where you're going to really be looking and seeing who's going to make the roster, especially with that Bengals game that's going to be televised on CBS. You're going to be looking and saying, who's these guys that are going to fight their hardest to make the team, to be that depth? Because the way this defense is going to work, these outside linebackers are also going to be rushing a ton. So we need those defensive ends / defensive tackles to really help out. Andrew Van Ginkel, Jalen Phillips, even Jerome Baker, Vince Beagle. These guys are going to be rushing at the quarterback a lot as well. So looking at this defensive front, you really like, well, who's the odd man out? Who are the guys and how many they're going to keep? If you guys remember when I broke down the offensive line, I said, can kind of see them keeping like 8 because you need that depth. And looking at this one, it's the same thing. Christian Wilkins last year was really good at run stopping, and you noticed it because when he got injured, we kind of got run on a lot. And then all of a sudden when he came back, it kind of went back to, we were kind of containing the run a little bit more. But you look at this defensive camp battles, and like I said, you got the top names, and then you got guys that are just going to have to fight to make the team. But I'm interested in what you guys have to say because I always say that the trenches, they deal with injuries a lot. How many do you think we're going to keep, and who are your starters? For me, again, Emmanuel Ogbah, Christian Wilkins, Zach Zeiler, Raekwon Davis. And it's like trying to find another defensive end out of this group. You probably take Christian Wilkins, kick him to defensive end, or Zeiler, or, who are your starters and who do you think they're going to keep? And I'm going to get to comment of the day. Now, for comment of the day, a lot of you guys were asking after Jerome Baker got signed. And again, as of me recording this Sunday night, his contract details have not come out. Again, it is a 3-year, $39 million, $28.4 million guarantee contract. That doesn't take effect until 2022 because he's still getting paid. It's an extension. He's still getting paid his $2.6 million this year. So a lot of people are saying, well, can you kind of touch base on the Xavier Howard situation and the Emmanuel Ogbah situation? I think they're sitting back and they're seeing Jerome Baker getting paid, right? Now, he was still going on his rookie contract. After this year, he was going to be gone if they didn't re-sign him. And, they must really like what they saw from him. He does have his limitations, but they probably think, we can play him in places and get the best out of him. And we like his speed and the way he plays. So we'll keep him. I think that they're showing Ogbah, they're showing Howard, look, you come in, you play, you do your thing, we will reward you. We did it with Devontae Parker, we did it with Jakeem Grant, we did it with Eric Rowe, we did it with Zach Zeiler, however you say it. that's what the Dolphins predicate themselves on. You come in, you do your job, we will give you your contract extension. And they did, and they do it. So with Xavier Howard, we'll see. You guys know I'm a huge Xavier Howard fan, so I'd love to keep him, but we'll see. You know, his value can't be any higher than it is right now. You know, he's 28. So it can't get any higher. So if they were to trade him, not saying I want them to, not saying I hope they do. Again, I want to keep him and have that defense with him and Byron Jones just consistently shut people down, especially with the division right now where we're facing some really good wide receivers. But if they were to trade him, now would be the time to do it because of how high his ceiling is right now. And with Emmanuel Ogbah, I think he's the next one to get a contract extension. Like I said, on the 15th, tomorrow, the 15th, 16th, 17th, the mandatory minicamp start. So I think Ogbah will come in. I don't think anyone's going to hold out. I don't think Xavier Howard will, and I don't think Ogbah will. I think they'll come in. I think they'll do their job, and I think the Dolphins will sit down with Ogbah, and I think they will give him. I think he's the next one to get a contract extension, is Emmanuel Ogbah. Gesicki, we'll see. They might just let the season play out with Gesicki, being that they did draft Hunter Long. So I think he's a guy they're gonna wait and see. And even with Xavier Howard, maybe they talk to him about, okay, we'll give you a contract extension, but let's rework the contract you have now to give us more cap space right now. So they could potentially maybe bring in Melvin Ingram, potentially bring in Todd Gurley or something. So I could see that happening. But as of right now, I don't know. It just, to me, I see all these things and I see players free agents getting signed, and I see people getting re-signed happening now. The Jerome Baker signing, yes, it surprised me that happened on a Sunday, but it didn't surprise me when it happened because the NFL and the players and everyone are going to get about a month break for the Dolphins. It's from the 17th to the 27th of July where they get a break. So this is when they start to do their thing, re-sign players, sign free agents, move things around, and do all that. But I hope I cleared up kind of the Xavier Howard situation. I'm hearing he's upset about his contract, then I hear he's not. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is what it all comes down to. Will he show up to mandatory minicamp on Tuesday, tomorrow the 15th? If he doesn't, then he's upset and he wants something done. And if he does, then he's fine. So there's that. But other than that, guys, tomorrow, like I said, is the mandatory minicamp. So if they do talk about highlights and if they do talk about things, you will get a mandatory minicamp video for tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. You'll get 3 days straight of videos from me. I'll give you all the news and breaking details of the mandatory minicamp if they're open to the media and I can get that information. But other than that, like usual, guys, be sure to check out Patch Vibes. Use that promo code DDW. You get yourself 20% off. And I'm telling you, Patch Vibes has some very, very good t-shirts, patches. They even have a cup. They got a mug. And I'm getting myself one that has the dolphin emblem on it. I'll pop it up. I'm getting myself one because God, this thing beautiful. So be sure to use the promo code DDW. You get yourself 20% off. Also, check out Miami Sports Music. Fantastic website and YouTube channel. I'm a part of. TD is a part of. Steven started it with Solo D. If you know who Solo D is, that was fantastic work. So be sure to check them out. Other than that, I will see you probably tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.